The woman was pulled up to the ceiling by a powerful force. Then, there was a tragic scream from the air. The next second, the woman fell from the air and died by the edge of the bathtub. What exactly happened to her? And what does the number countdown to 0 on the nearby phone represent? Let's start from the beginning of the story. The beautiful woman, Monica, was attending a party at her friend's house. A friend recommended a weight management app to everyone, called Slimming Countdown, but some friends found another app during their search. The app's description claimed to predict when you would die. A group of young people became interested, and persuaded everyone to download the game together. The rule was that whoever died first would have to drink all the alcohol on the table. After Monica downloaded the app, she discovered that it showed she only had 3 hours to live. The friends found it intriguing to see each other's varying time left to live. Monica's boyfriend, Evan, arrived late at that moment. The friends started teasing Evan. In this way, Evan learned about the app as well and downloaded it with curiosity. What they couldn't have imagined was that the prophecy has unfortunately come true a few hours later. In the evening, Evan got drunk at the party, but insisted on sitting in the driver's seat. Monica tried to persuade him, but it was in vain. Monica remembered the app's supposed time of death, and decided to get out of the car, just in case. Evan was so angry that he drove away. Monica checked her phone and realized she had only 7 minutes left to live. She felt uneasy. At that moment, there happened to be a man in black following her from behind. After a while, she noticed the man and became even more nervous. Then, she noticed a peculiar figure near the trash can and a dark shadow floating nearby. Monica's anxiety reached its peak, so she immediately ran back home. However, the app kept ringing incessantly. Monica urgently uninstalled the app. She took a sip of water in the bathroom when, suddenly a force lifted her up as she reached for her phone. The phone displayed the so-called countdown of her life. After a scream and struggle, the woman fell from the ceiling and died instantly. Meanwhile, Monica's boyfriend Evan got into a car accident due to drunk driving. Monica was supposed to be in the passenger seat. A thick tree trunk pierced through the seatback, and Evan was severely injured and taken to the hospital. Quinn, an intern nurse taking care of Evan, was told by Evan that she might not believe it, but there was an app that could predict how long you would live, and his girlfriend's incident was related to it. Evan was about to undergo surgery, and he was afraid he might die during the operation, because the app showed he only had 19 hours to live. Quinn didn't believe it and offered some comforting words. Finally, Evan left on his crutches anxiously. That day was also the day Quinn passed the internship exam, and the head nurse and others celebrated with Quinn. While cutting the cake, Quinn told colleagues about the app Evan mentioned, saying it could predict how long you would live. A curly-haired guy daringly asked for the name of the app and downloaded it. The app showed that he had several decades to live, and could live at least until the age of 98. After Quinn finished work, driven by a strange impulse, she downloaded the app. To her surprise, it predicted that she only had 2 days left to live. Quinn was filled with doubt. After driving back to her small apartment, in order to fill out job-related information, she needed to go to her father's house to find some documents. To avoid waking up her family, she quietly searched through drawers. Unexpectedly, she heard strange noises coming from the wardrobe. She opened it to take a look. She was startled by her sister and her sister's boyfriend inside the wardrobe. Her sister was going through a rebellious period. They didn't get along well and had few words in common. From their conversation, it could be inferred that their relationship had been strained since their mother's passing away. The relationship between the two sisters had always been unharmonious. The noise they made woke up their father. Quinn made plans with her father to visit their mother's grave on Saturday and then left. The next day, Evan in the hospital remained restless. The app showed that he only had 3 minutes left to live. Evan couldn't believe it. He leaned on his crutches and came to the corridor. He saw the surveillance mirror suddenly shatter into pieces. In a panic, Evan escaped to a safe passage. He almost fell down when he turned around. The lights in the passage also malfunctioned. He quickly turned on the flashlight on his phone, but he was terrified by his girlfriend's horrifying face on the stairs and ended up lying on the ground. Soon after, the female ghost approached him. Before long, he also became an unlucky victim. Quinn heard the news of Evan's death right after starting her work. Recalling what he said, and that mysterious app, she couldn't help but shudder. In order to find out the truth, Quinn went to Evan's former ward, taking over from the nurse who was sorting out his belongings. After obtaining Evan's phone, she quietly rushed to the morgue. unlocking it with his corpse's face. She opened it up to take a look. It showed that the countdown had been reset to 0. Quinn's heart raced with panic. She returned to the ward and injected medication into a patient. She felt very uneasy. This caught the attention of the lecherous Dr. and wanted to take advantage of the situation, but Quinn pushed him away. In the evening, when Quinn returned home, she tried to uninstall the app, but no matter what she did, she couldn't uninstall it. While searching for news about the app, she saw a video of a girl's final moments. She got goosebumps all over, just as Quinn closed her computer. But when Quinn turned on the light again, the ghostly figure disappeared once more. She felt scared. The app emitted a sharp sound. The woman hastily threw away her phone, planning to spend the night in her car. A downpour started in the middle of the night. Quinn's sister Jordan found Quinn curled up in the car. Quinn only dared to enter the house after following his sister. Jordan then discovered the phone on the floor. The screen displayed that Quinn had only one day left to live. Her sister found it somewhat funny, and Jordan explained the reason she came here. Their father was on a business trip. He entrusted her to their aunt's care. She didn't want to be under their aunt's strict control, so she wanted to stay at Quinn's house for a few days. Regardless of whether the app was real or fake, Quinn didn't want to involve her sister in any trouble. She disregarded her sister's request and firmly refused her. Later on, Quinn went to a mobile phone store to buy a new phone. As soon as she got the phone, she started browsing through it. After seeing that the app was gone, Quinn finally breathed a sigh of relief. But the next moment, she received a notification from the app about a violation of the terms. Quinn went back to confront the store owner, but the owner thought she had downloaded it herself. Quinn could only walk away in frustration. All of this was witnessed by a man named Bode who was standing in line behind her. Quinn returned to her car. As she disappointingly scratched her head, she saw a figure in a black robe on the car's display screen. When Quinn confirmed that the person was indeed there, Quinn accelerated in reverse, but she only ended up hitting another car. Quinn collapsed weakly to the ground. The car owner grabbed Quinn, ready to demand an explanation. After witnessing this, Bode stood up for Quinn. The car owner saw Bode's sturdy build. Not wanting to cause trouble, he left dejectedly. Bode took out his own phone. Quinn looked and found that his death date was similar to hers. They immediately sympathized with each other. Quinn and Bode went to a bar to discuss and found out their commonality was that the system indicated they had violated the terms of the agreement, but they hadn't read that agreement at all. What should they do now? Bode came up with a plan. He had a man at the bar download the app. They were able to carefully read the agreement. It turned out that any attempt to change one's fate was deemed a violation of the rules, and subsequently, they would be targeted by a demon until death. They immediately reminded when they saw the dates on the app. They had indeed made changes to their route. Feeling desperate and trapped, they sought help from Father Peter, but the priest admitted he didn't have the power to lift the curse of the app. However, there was someone who seemed to be able to help them. Before Quinn and Bode left, the head nurse called Quinn away. While Bode waited, he went to the restroom to relieve himself, but the doors of the stalls were constantly being opened and closed by someone. As Bode was about to leave, he noticed a barefoot person inexplicably walking through each stall. In the last stall, the feet even twisted unnaturally. Then the restroom lights malfunctioned and went out. In fear, Bode quickly took out a flashlight. At that moment, the door of one stall creaked open. Bode approached and took a closer look. The next second, he was suddenly pounced on by the spirit of his deceased brother. Bode was distressed and struggled relentlessly, but after a while, the surroundings returned to normal. He stumbled out of there. Meanwhile, Quinn was taken to a conference room. It turned out that Dr. who had harassed her yesterday, had offered a complaint against her, accusing her of seducing him. The human resources manager only heard Dr.'s side of the story, and ordered Quinn to be suspended. Quinn was infuriated. Left directly, Bode and Quinn arrived at the location Father Peter had informed them about. They encountered another priest named Father Daniel. As soon as they mentioned the demon, Daniel became interested. After the two of them recounted the story about the app, the priest remembered. There was an ancient tale about predicting death. Once upon a time, there was a prince who was prepared to go into battle in place of his critically ill father. Before departing, he found a gypsy witch. The prince wanted her to predict the outcome of his journey. The witch gave him a series of numbers. These were his true time of death. The prince realized it was not good news. To protect himself, he had his younger brother take his place. In the end, his brother emerged victorious. Since then, the prince was frequently haunted by demons, until the predicted time of his death arrived. It seems that whenever people attempt to change their predetermined fate, demons will target and torment them until their demise. After hearing this, the two individuals felt that the road ahead was gloom. However, Daniel expressed that if he could see the code of the app, perhaps there could be a turning point. Then Quinn remembered the phone repair shop owner. They immediately set off. They bribed the owner with money. The owner successfully hacked into the back end. Quinn captured the running code from the back end. The owner directly modified the so-called time of death on Quinn's device. Quinn noticed that her sister had also downloaded the app, and her original time of death was almost the same as hers. The owner altered their and Jordan's time. After completing the task, he left. Through this incident, Quinn and Bode developed a different kind of affection between them. Quinn proactively invited Bode to her home for some rest. At this time, Jordan's phone was confiscated by her strict aunt. The two individuals returned home. They confided in each other about their inner struggles and worries. Bode told Quinn, when he was young, he had a seriously ill younger brother. At that time, he didn't understand. He believed that his brother took away his parents' love for him. Filled with resentment, he stole his brother's beloved toy. Later, his brother passed away. Looking back, Bode felt immense guilt. If he hadn't stolen his toy, perhaps his brother could have lived a little longer. Then Quinn shared her own experience. As a rebellious child, she learned to run away from home. Her mother, in search of her, accidentally got into a car with a drunk driver, and tragically died in the accident. She always blamed her own recklessness for leading to her mother's tragic fate. They comforted each other. Their hearts got closer and closer. In the middle of the night, while Quinn was asleep, she thought Bode was embracing her, feeling a sweet warmth in her heart. But immediately, she saw Bode entering from the doorway. In shock, she looked down, and it was the claw of a demon. In the next moment, Quinn was swiftly dragged into the sheets. She struggled in fear, until Bode pulled the sheets away. Quinn gradually calmed down. At that moment, the death dates on their phones returned to normal. Immediately, Quinn thought of her sister. Her sister's death was approaching, as well as her own. She quickly dialed her sister's phone, but there was no answer. She urgently drove back home. Meanwhile, Jordan woke up in the middle of the night. She sneaked into her aunt's bedroom, and took the phone. When Jordan returned to her room, the hallway lights kept turning on mysteriously. She closed the door, but the door eerily opened again. Terrified, Jordan hurriedly hid under the bed. But soon, the bed was forcefully moved. She curled up in fear. She turned her head to have a look. A ghost with a bloody face was lying next to her. Jordan fled in panic. She ran into her sister's arms as she opened the door. The three of them drove to the priest's church. The priest translated the code. He figured out the way to break the curse. As long as someone dies before or after their predetermined death date, the curse from the demon will be broken. The priest told the three of them, if they want to survive beyond their predetermined death dates, they can buy time through protective rituals and prayers. Guided by the priest, they painted a protective circle with a mixture of paint and salt. Just as they were about to finish their preparations, Bode and Quinn also confirmed their feelings for each other. The lights in the utility room flickered. The demon appeared once again. The priest took out a larger cross to resist. After a few intimidating turns, the demon finally revealed itself. However, it seemed to be hindered by the salt circle, unable to move forward. Then the demon disappeared on the spot. The next moment, the software emitted a piercing sound effect. While everyone was too busy to care about themselves, a toy slowly emerged from the darkness. Bode noticed it. He recognized it as the toy he had stolen from his brother. Then his brother appeared. Bode felt full of guilt. In a moment of carelessness, he lifted his foot outside of the salt circle. This was exactly what the demon wanted. Bode was grabbed by the demon, dragged out of the basement. Quinn ran out to save him, but she was hit directly by a shelf. Jordan, disregarding the danger, went to chase after her sister. Unfortunately, she got trapped between two shelves. Quinn struggled to climb the stairs. She saw Bode on the road. Just when they thought the danger was over, a car directly crashed into Bode, killing him against a tree. At this moment, the priest had just helped the injured Quinn out. Quinn cried bitterly at the front of the car. She knew her time was running out. She embraced her sister tightly. Then Quinn noticed Jordan's wound. The two of them hurriedly limped to the hospital. The nurses took Jordan to treat her wound. A nurse in the hospital found Quinn. She said she had also been falsely accused by Dr. He harmed her, but Dr. turned the tables to protect his reputation, saying that the nurse had willingly offered herself. The nurse said she could provide support if Quinn needed it. Quinn thought about the injustice she had experienced. She had a plan in her mind. The two sisters also let go of their grudges before death. Jordan didn't hold much hope for survival, but Quinn didn't think the same way. After settling her sister, Quinn followed Dr. to his office. She lured the lecherous man into an abandoned space. When he let his guard down, she swung the weapon directly at him. At the critical moment, Jordan appeared and stopped her. In this split second, Dr. was dragged away by a mysterious force. Quinn told her sister, Dr. also has that software. If he dies before his time is up, we can all be saved. Ignoring her sister's resistance, Quinn took the crowbar and went downstairs. At this moment, Quincy had only a little over a minute left. She turned her head and saw the death-dealing demon, rushed forward in a panic, dived into one of the small rooms in the hallway. Quinn was holding the crowbar, ready to strike, but she was knocked down by the strong Dr. and with a punch, Quinn quickly jumped behind the man and brought him down. Unfortunately, she lacked the strength. The doctor successfully escaped through the door. Quinn closely followed, unwilling to let him go. The lethal poison in her hand was about to be used. Quinn was suddenly dragged to the ground by an inexplicable force. The doctor, seeing this, crawled away desperately. Quinn couldn't bear to leave her sister behind. She had only one choice now. Quinn, in this abandoned examination room, searched for the items she needed, while her sister was hiding in fear from the demon. A cabinet door opened quietly. Jordan cautiously approached with a flashlight, but the demon grabbed her by the hair and threw her out of the room. She had only a short 50 seconds left. Quinn stood up to protect her sister when she was about to be harmed. She was prepared to sacrifice herself for her sister's life. The demon, seeing this, repeated its trick, transformed into the mother of the two sisters. Quinn was momentarily stunned, but the next second, she resolutely faced death. The mother's originally gentle face suddenly became extremely horrifying. Then Quinn was lifted by the demon. At the moment Quinn took her last breath, it let out a roar of disbelief. In its collapse, its whole body turned into dust. Jordan moved closer to her sister, overwhelmed with grief. She accidentally noticed the mark her sister had written on her arm. Quinn had actually prepared a plan B for this. It was a special wake-up drug. Jordan decisively injected it into her sister's body. After a moment, Quinn regained consciousness. The two embraced tightly. They successfully broke the curse. After some time, Quinn, her father, and her sister visited their mother's grave together. The news about Dr.'s malicious accusations against the nurses also hits headlines. Evil people eventually face consequences. Just as the three of them were about to return, Quinn saw a notification from the app that she was supposed to uninstall. The system has been updated. She suddenly became serious. The film ends here. The film is called Countdown. It was released in 2019. At the end of the film, the app's upgrade is a surprise, leaving people anticipating the next season. The beauty of the female lead is eye-catching. The pace of the entire film is lively. It has a comedic atmosphere in parts, such as the supporting characters interspersed throughout. Father Daniel and the cell phone shop owner. Their words and actions are humorous. There aren't many terrifying scenes, but the overall setting is good. If the Death really designed this app, what choice would you make? Alright, that's it for today's video. See you in the next episode.